Welcome to Trading Lounge and the global indices, starting with the S&P 500 on the weekly chart here. At the moment, from this current low, we are looking at an impulse wave of 5 waves to the upside here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for wave 1 and then back for wave 2. Now this wave 1 and wave 2 coming back here will be highly contentious because a lot of Elliott folks and general people in the market will be looking at this as wave 3 and 4 here and going up for wave 5 and having a much bigger top in here that would come back down and take the low out here and be the end of the world and so on. But looking at tech stocks, it tells me that we should be looking at this as wave 1 and 2 here. Now, we've just gone through an experience, publicly, professionals, all sorts of folks that, and even myself, that how quickly we can change our minds from being positive and negative and vice versa with the markets. So we need to take that on board. My original thing is that we can look at this as an ABC here. If the 4,000 became the resistance, then we would look for another leg to the downside. If this became the support here, then we'd be looking to the upside. So that this 4,000 was my line in the sand. And that's partly why we've been bullish, and we've been bullish pretty early on in the piece, I must say. And yeah, so the other point here too is that we've had a good run here. What you see is not what you get next. We've been through a series of 1s and 2s here, and there's the beginning of a trend, there's the middle of the trend, and then there's the ending of the trend. The ending of the trend is very much like the beginning of the trend, where you have overlapping wave structures and it can get very choppy. So it's a completely different environment, but that's really where we are. So we're heading up to this wave 3 here, and pulling back for this wave 4 will be, well, be a bit of a game changer really. And normally we see wave 3s coming around the previous highs here. Now it may stretch up to the 5,000. It may fall short at that point, but we will just be looking for 5 waves from wave 4 to wave 5. So we're in the final stretch here to get to this particular wave 3, and this will be a sell-off in this wave 4 here. So we'll go into the daily chart here just to get that picture. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then all the way up for wave 3, 4, and then 5. So we're heading up to this wave 3 here. So let's go in and pick that up at that point. So we were looking for 5 waves here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 waves up here. So 4,600, 4,650 would be a reasonable move at that point. Technically speaking, that we would normally be looking for a retracement back to the 38.2%. or the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, which is they're both basically here. So it's possible for it to come back this far. Will it come back that far? I don't know. Sometimes they don't come back that far. Sometimes they fall a bit shorter and come into the top of wave 3 and all sorts of things. Wave 4s can also be very complicated as well. Out of the 11 or 12 different types of Elliott wave patterns, they can all occur in wave 4. So we need to be mindful of that. It's a nightmare, wave 4, and we need to tread lightly through that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go to the 100 tick straight into the intraday area. Let's just do, I should probably go in a bit, I'll just take a deep dive straight in, I think. So we'll just go in here, we'll just get a bit more data here on the 5K. So probably a little bit more data wouldn't hurt here. Just double it up a little bit. Could probably go a bit more. Let's just go a little bit more so you've got your bearings here with this. So the blue wave 4 here, and we're going up to blue wave 5 of wave 3. And it's possible for this, we just had a look then, the 38.2% is way down here. Now you say, oh shit, Pete, that's not going to happen. I mean, first of all, nothing's too high, nothing's too low. Anything could possibly happen, but we start from this point. and then we can work up. It may just come back to the 4,500. You know, we don't know that just yet. It could be here anywhere. We just need to have a look at this. This is why I do the stocks video first, because it's the stocks that really create this to a point. I mean, I know that the futures market can push things around a little bit with some extra leverage and paper in the market, but it is the stocks. So we'll be assessing that situation from the stocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And then from that wave 4, we're also looking for another little 5 waves to the upside. So we're looking for 1 and 2 here and 3 here. And we'll just copy that. That will be wave 4 here, and copy that. Yep. And wave 5 here. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your opportunity to go long here, by the by, as well. If this was going to be a bigger wave 4 correction here, then it would have done it from this point here, I would imagine, because this here is pretty clear as 5 waves here. So this would have to be, if it was going to be any bigger, the A wave here, the B wave to here is an A, B, C to here, and then the C wave over here for that. Could we push it up here further as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put that over here? We could, but you'd be forcing it a little bit and it doesn't really sort of look good. So we talked about being long here. So yeah, I'll just leave that there and we can basically build in on that again as well here. So we'll put these back over here. There's a couple of different ways to count that down here, so don't pay any attention to the way that I've done it. But it's pretty much confirming that we'll be heading higher from this point. Now, if you want a safe trade, we can see that we're on the, you know, from 500 to 600 here, which are minor levels. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8, which are the Fibonacci sequence as sub levels. And it's very important when you got 2 big numbers like this and getting the halfway mark and getting support on the halfway mark. That's a big deal. You know, the next step is getting support in group 2, so that 4, 5, 6, 5 here, the 65 number. So as soon as it didn't get support here, and you can see that it's important. Once it does get support in there, then you can have confidence to add to the position at that point. So our target to the upside is, as always, to count 5 waves to the upside. Now we may end up in 46 group 1 here, or we may end up at the beginning of minor group 2 here, which is the 46 50 here at that point. We'll see. It just depends on the sentiment, but we always count the wave structures. So we're in wave 2 going up into wave 3. So this is 1 and 2, and probably 1 and 2 in here again at this particular point. The off hours are creeping in, so we'll be in here as 1 and 2 in here probably. And this is the time to start buying strength when you see it. So let's just put this in. Well, I've got one here already, so we'll put this one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's only half a position, so now we can go again. We'll just go again, and then you can also look to build in once you get support into here for this. If you want to take some money off the table, then you do it at number 8 here. In fact, you could do it at not the 80, you could do it at 78. 8 is a profit-taking number, and it's just shy here, so I'll probably be shy over here. Anyway, that's the S&P, okay? So this will be a bit of a game changer, this wave 3 up here. This is where would be leaving most of the stock market at that particular point. Any long trades you have in Apple and so on will be out of them once this wave 3 comes into play. Okay, so over to the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ with same thing as well, wave 4 here with 1, 2, 3, 4, and going up for wave 5 here. We should make a new high above here. How high does it go? We shall see, but we are looking for a 5 wave move here, and then a larger correction that could maybe possibly come back to this wave 4, maybe not, maybe it just comes back into this wave 4. We'll see. We need to do some work on that. I haven't given it much thought yet. I'll need to look at that with stocks and so on, and it just sort of depends on the sentiment and what news is going to come out to push this down. I mean, what are they going to tag to that? That's the other point with all of this. If you want to go long here, then you want to be on the closest largest number, which is the 15,000 500. So if you get a classic trading levels pattern on top of the 500, if that's the 500 here, you need to wait for the first high above the level. That's your reference point. It's a trigger to go long. You can bring it down to the second high on the B wave here, or you can rinse and repeat. This whole pattern here will be all tied up into this little pattern. So it will be the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the ABC pattern, and so on. So you need to be on this side of the fence for that. And you may end up with a pattern just like this as well, where it doesn't come back below the level. So in this case, you still start from the high and you still come down, and if you get clicked in, well then you get swept up in it all and off you go. So that's that. I just want to have a look at the DJ at the moment. So that's still in a slightly different count. I don't think that I could weave it into the same count. The ETF for this particular sector is, has been smoking to the upside, and we're seeing other sectors move to the upside as well, like the health sector here is like cranking it as well. I was looking for this one though, this one here. So yeah, this one here we could tie into this wave 3 here. So we'll probably do that on this industrial sector here. So the DJ was a bit slow to move off, but it's making some legs here, but I can't see how I can fit it into that wave 3 here. So I'll just stay with this particular count for the time being on that. And we go over to the Russell, and the same thing here as well. Let me just get a bit more data in here. So we're going to look at this as wave 4 here with 1 and 2 here, and then we've counted all the way up here, which we don't need that. So we've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4 here. So we'll be looking for wave 5 to move up. It's not going to go that far above this level here, because this number's just because it reacted here. Then this number's got meaning, and it will play a part in this. So there won't be a lot in this, but get support on top of 1972, and then you can climb up to the 2000 for that. Over to the European markets. Today, I'm just going to tie this in just for the sake of it, the DAX anyway, because the DAX is a little bit like the S&P 500. It's nothing like it actually, but in the terms of, the October lows and the trend to the upside, they're same but different. So I'm just sort of thinking here that, we were looking at this being wave 1 and back for wave 2, which is something that we can apply to the FTSE and also the Australian market as well, but I'm a bit reluctant to do that. So I did have this, we had this as wave 1 over here, and then I thought to myself, no, I really need to count this up from here as wave, as 1, 2, 3. Instead of having wave 1 here, instead of having wave 4 here, I need to pull it over here. It may not be the correct way to do this, but it still doesn't really make any difference, because when you think about the S&P here, that we've got wave 4 here, and we've got wave 1 and 2, and we're building up here into wave 3, 4, 5. This is going to be quite, this is going to be a game changer here. This is going to affect the DAX and the European, all the European markets and so on. So how big it gets is another question, So I think that even if I did call this wave 1 over here, or wave 1 up here rather, the wave 2 coming back as an ABC, it might just come deep and everything may be okay. But I was also thinking, well, why don't I just tie it in like I've done with a lot of the US stocks, is tie this in as wave 3, 4, and 5 up here for this wave 3, and we come back for this wave 4. So I'm going to play it both here, and let's just see how it plays out. In the meantime, yes, as we talked about yesterday, that we can go long above here, and this will, I know it's been a bit lazy, but it will move up now that the S&P and NASDAQ and tech stocks are ready to push up high. There's not a lot in it, but it'll be a little bit there. So enough to buy yourself a can of baked beans so you won't starve to death. So the next one is the FTSE here. So the same thing here applies as well in terms of the little wave 4. So I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 here. No change in this. So we still just expect, whichever way you want to count this, we should see a move up at this point. It's a completely different count, this particular market. As you know, if I go back to, say, 10K in here, and I won't go to any bigger charts, but we've basically got this here as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave. And yes, we can look at it as a bearish thing as well, but this doesn't remind me of a bearish picture at the moment anyway. So what would change it for me from being a bearish picture to a bullish picture, because we've also been looking at this as wave 1 up here and wave 2 down here in our bullish picture, which I think is the case. But what we want to do is we want to have the proof in the pudding. So we want to have 5 waves to the upside. So it's currently loitering around the 61.8%, and that's going to sort of hold it there because this is where some supply obviously starts. This low here, turn resistant, so it needs to find that zone there as support, and that's always an effort. So it will move up with the other markets, and then as the other markets come down, then this can come down, and it could come down quite deep in this case. But I think I'll still leave it as a wave 2 here for the time being. It could make new lows. That's not an issue as well, but we'll just see how big those wave 3s are in wave 4s are in the S&P 500. So in the short term, we're going to go up and then we're going to come down. How you count that is a little bit open at this particular point. But yeah, I kind of still like the 1, 2 in this particular instance. And this will also run through to the Australian market. So I've also changed the top of this count here as well. So in this situation here, I've still got wave 1 and 2 here, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the third wave now, because last time we spoke, like the FTSE, I had wave 1 over here, and I was okay with that. Everything sort of fitted, but the only thing I didn't like about that is wave 2 was really quite small here. So now that I've sort of opened this up a little bit better, I feel a little bit better about myself. Well, about the chart, let's say, but same really, I guess. So yeah, so we'll be looking at some sort of move to the upside here. I think yesterday we were talking about, yesterday we did talk about this as a wave 1 pulling back for wave 2, but we had it as a green wave 1 and green wave 2. So it sort of played out sort of nicely. So I think this will just keep, it'll push back and, do it. It'll be tough getting through all of this, but we'll need to make new highs above here. So we'll probably end up, we'll just take it on board with the S&P and so on. So we should end up further up here. So basically risk on with all the equities. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.